If you've never heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, and I'll explain really quickly. My favorite part, it's free. There's actually creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer if you want. It will actually distribute your podcast so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, and many more, and you can actually make money from it without any minimum numbers of listeners, and it's everything that you need to actually make a podcast in one place. So do this, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey everyone, I hope you all are well in spite of everything still happening with COVID-19. Hopefully you're safe and feeling good. This is a great episode with AJ Adams. He's got such an incredible story. This is somebody that has fallen a lot, but the most important thing that he's always done is he's gotten back up. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to chat with you after. Welcome, everybody, to the Blaze Your Own Trail podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Mendoza, and today I've got a very special guest. His name is AJ Adams, and we'll actually kick it off and just have him give us a little bit of info about himself.
Yeah, man, definitely. Jordan, appreciate you having me on the show. So a little bit about me. I am in the space of building brands that attract. And what I do is I help clients build a high-ticket personal brand so that they can attract high-ticket clients, and I help them do that in 45 days or less. And I started actually as a youth pastor, and I wanted to reach kids who were outside of that church context, and that's what got me into motivational speaking. And it was actually kind of pretty random. My wife she's a former Division I college basketball player, and she was coaching a freshman girls team at a local high school. And the coach just randomly came up to me and asked, "Hey, have you ever done motivational speaking?" And I feel stupid even saying this, but at the time I had no idea what that was. Like, they never came to my school, probably because I was homeschooled. So I never heard of motivational speaking. But when I started researching Les Brown, and I found Les Brown, I found Tony Robbins, I found Zig Ziglar, I found the greats, and I realized, man, these guys get paid to get on stage and to just talk. They get paid thousands of dollars. That's what I need to do. I didn't know this existed. Nobody told me. So I obsessively studied that. I dove in, immersed myself in that world of motivational speakers and eventually coaches, and I started building my personal brand. The challenge for me, though, was that I'm not a celebrity. I didn't have a crazy story, not a pro athlete, just an ordinary guy who grew up on a tiny island, dropped out of high school, jumped out of college 3 times, nothing crazy or real compelling. So I had to figure out, how do I structure my story? How do I create my brand story to be compelling so that people will see my value and it'll get me the attention that gets me paid to be on stage? And as I studied that, I eventually got really good at it, to the point where I was getting paid more for a 20 to 45 minute talk than I was getting paid in a whole month of my day job. And that's when the gear shifted. I started going all in on creating social media content. I was creating YouTube videos every other day. I was posting content on Instagram and Facebook. Other speakers and coaches, entrepreneurs started to take notice of how my brand was elevating the quality of my content. And they started asking me, "Who's your social media manager? Who's helping you?" And I said, "It's me." That opened up the opportunity to coach other speakers and other coaches. And I went straight to high ticket coaching, because I didn't know that, doing $100 or $500 a month was a thing. So I went to, someone asked me to coach them. I said, "Sure, I'll coach you. It'll be $5,000. All right, great. So that's how I moved into that space, and that evolved into launching an agency. Through my personal brand, landed a partnership with a gentleman named Bert Ullman, the $6 billion man. He's built fashion brands for people like Jennifer Lopez, worked with Tommy Hilfiger. He's currently partnered with Damon John, and that led to working with celebrity clients, 9-figure brands, and I've just continued to evolve it from there. Shared the stage with Les Brown, one of my idols as a young speaker. Kevin Harrington, I've spoken at his event, been on his podcast. But personal branding has just opened up a huge world of opportunity. And now I'm in the space where I help entrepreneurs, like I said, build their high ticket personal brand to land high ticket clients.
That's awesome. And what a great intro. So where you are now, you had to go through the trenches to get there, right? And
Yeah,
so
man.
for the audience, can you share a little bit about your journey, a little bit about, the ups and the downs and the things that you went through, because you're experiencing a lot of success right now, and congrats and kudos to that. But
Appreciate it.
the one thing I'm always interested in is, what did you have to go through to get there, right?
Oh,
So
man.
let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back and so what kind of kid were you growing up? You grew up on an island, so where'd you grow up? What kind of kid were you? And then we'll kind of fast forward a little bit and take us on this journey, because I think that's going to add a lot of value to the folks that are listening.
Oh, definitely. So, man, I just posted about this 2 days ago. I did a 20-year review. So I just, year by year, I posted some of the craziness that I went through. And eventually I'm going to write a book where I talk about this, and I probably interview, top entrepreneurs. But I had to crawl through the shit and walk through the fire. That's how I like to say it. And, man, I growing up on the tiny island of Guam, which most people who do know it, it's because they somehow are connected to the military, because there's a major naval base there and a military base. And it's a tiny island. I mean, it's shaped like a boot. It's 18 miles wide. It's 31 miles long. It's 170,000 people. So it gives you an idea of how small it is. When I was working a day job, I would drive 31 miles each way to work. That's the length of the island. So I grew up not seeing big opportunity. I always had a big vision, though, to do something. When I was a kid, I taught myself to play the guitar at 12. I was writing songs. As a depressed teenager, there was a lot of dark emo songs about breakups and depression. I wanted to be on stages. I wanted to be a recording artist. Then I wanted to be a rapper. Then I wanted to be an actor. I always wanted to do something where I had a platform to positively influence people. And then from there, I've gone through bankruptcy. I've dropped out of 3 colleges. I dropped out of high school in my freshman year at 17. Got a GED. And it's just been, I had nothing handed to me. I had some great mentors. I had some great opportunities, but I've had to build who I am now. It's been struggle the whole way through, but I don't resent that. I'm thankful for it, because every struggle is a struggle I overcame. It made me smarter, made me stronger, made me better. And that's why I'm able to do what I'm doing now. So, man,
that's awesome.
It's been an intense journey. And I'll send you the link. I'll tag you in it for folks who want to see like a full 20-year review. They can see the entrepreneurial journey. First year, I fell on my face. Second year, I went bankrupt. I shut my business down multiple times. I ran out of money multiple times. I had an employee who just up and left one day and stole a company laptop. $2,000 MacBook, cost us $10,000 in just hassle. I've had business partners jump ship and try to sue me for things. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but that's the journey. You learn from those mistakes, and every one of those was a result of a mistake I made, either in not vetting the person, not knowing how to negotiate properly. At one point, I almost gave up 51% of my company, and it wouldn't exist now had I done that. So, man, if you're blazing a trail, understand you gotta hack through the weeds. You gotta step on some rocks. You might get bitten by a snake. You might get trampled by an elephant. I don't know where you're blazing the trail at, but it can get treacherous.
That's it. Yeah. And, what an amazing journey that you've been on, right? And, I'm a firm believer that we're a sum total of all our failures, not our successes, right?
Yeah.
As long as we learn from them, right? As long as we learn from those failures,
that's key.
That's what we're a sum total of. And so tell me a little bit about today. Let's get back to today. So you went through all these trials, these tribulations, and today I know I can just kind of get a feeling and a sense of the type of person you are. So I know that you probably are looking at it like you're still learning every single day. You're learning new things. So what was the first paid client that you got? And can you remember like where you were when it happened? What your thought process was that this person just said yes. They're because like you said, you didn't want to be the $100, $500 guy. You wanted to raise the bar and price this at $5,000 right off the bat. So who was that first client? You don't have to name them if you don't want to, but Do you just remember what that feeling was like? And was there some type of kind of adrenaline rush that propelled the momentum forward?
Yeah, man, it was nuts. You're the first person who's asked that question. And so kudos to you. That's a great question. So I had clients like for speaking, which is a bit different. It was still high ticket, but not the same as when you have your own high ticket coaching or consulting clients. It's a little different. They're not bringing you in as an entertainer performer. They're putting a much higher level of trust in you to teach them how to get whatever results it is that you promise you can help them get. So what I did was I went my agency, and originally I was doing just coaching and consulting before doing the digital marketing and actual creative work. I started posting more content specific to that idea on Instagram, and I spent maybe $6 for Linktree so people could find me, and I was just testing it. Didn't really do much, but what happened was just people randomly following me started clicking the link and booking calls with me. So I had 2 specific people, and in a 45-day period, and this is why I teach people to get their high-ticket client in first high-ticket client in 45 days or less, because that's exactly what I did. Posting on Instagram, high-value content on social media, replying to every comment, DMing people, just giving value, building relationship equity, which is what I call it. I booked 3 calls. The first client I landed, there was 2 of them in the span of a couple days. Booked a call. I had no idea how to do a sales call. I had a sales background, but this was very different. I asked them, what is it that you need? What are your challenges? What are you looking to accomplish? Okay, here's how I can help you. And I really sold it well, apparently. And the first one was a 6-month consulting deal for $1,500 a month. And then the next one was about $1,250 a month consulting also. And then that same week I landed a coaching client for $5,000. So my thought when it happened, I got off the phone and my wife was listening to the call, and I looked at her and I said, holy crap, that was so easy. Like it blew me away how easy it was to close someone on a high ticket deal on the first call. So I had to go back and look at, how did I do that? Why was it so easy? And it was easy because I had given so much value for, some of them followed me for months. Some of them it was a year or years. I had cultivated that relationship. They had been fully convinced of my value through my personal brand and my content, that when I finally got them on the phone, it was simply a situation where I had to just show them what specifically I can do, how I can help them. They were already convinced that I could. So, that's why I love the space of doing high ticket sales and high ticket coaching and consulting, because when you do that, you attract clients who are more convinced, they're more committed, they put in the work, they get better results. The only time I've had a client, coaching or consulting client fire me is when I was helping them get results to the point where they were actually bogged down in their business and they had to pull back from coaching in order to focus on increasing their team, getting new equipment. It was too much.
And that's probably the best way you could get fired, right? You actually don't feel bad about it because they're thriving and you help them get there. So that's awesome. And I love what you said. You literally created contextual content at scale, right? Yeah. That essentially built your brand equity with strangers, right? Maybe they didn't even engage. Like I see this all the time. Like I'll have people reach out to me on social, never liked, never commented, never nothing. And they're like, hey, what do you do? I'd love to work with you. And it's like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what I tell people too is, it's about, you can create content all day long, but if you're not engaging with the audience, you're literally leaving money and dollars and impact and relationships on the table.
Exactly. And like you said, some of them never engage with you. So not only do you need to engage because you engage with those specific people who will become your future clients, but because other future clients who never engage with you for whatever reason, they're seeing you engage. So some are having the experience of, man, he replied back to me. Others are having the experience of, wow, I see her replying to everybody else. And I've even gotten comments and messages from people saying, I never see anybody reply to every single comment, and specifically on Instagram. And, it still works today. The algorithms change, the platforms change, the terms of service change. Facebook keeps changing things up on their platform and Instagram. But if you are committed to strategically adding value and building relationship equity, you put yourself in a position where no matter what the algorithm or the platform, building relationships is building relationships. That never changes. Since the dawn of man, it's been meet someone, exchange value. That's a relationship. And then you disproportionately exchange value. That's been since cavemen were trading stones and rocks for, I don't know, prehistoric, for their like dinosaurs, or I don't know. That's how it's been. And even yesterday, I had people, I get friend requests. So here's a strategy for your listeners. You get friend requests, reach out to them and say, what made you decide to reach out? Thanks for reaching out. What about me did you see value in? From that, I had multiple conversations yesterday, and yesterday I booked 3 sales calls. 2 of them are today, and then I got 1 tomorrow. Just from the DMs. These are people who just follow me, just because they see value that I'm putting out.
That's it. Yeah. And when people connect and you do nothing, like there's 1,000% chance that nothing's going to happen. You know, like exactly. I have this all the time with clients of mine. It's like, they're like, hey, I don't know what's happening, but nobody's engaging with our content. It's like, well, what content did you post? And did you ask a contextual question that would actually elicit a response? Right. Because
exactly.
a lot of people just try to post stuff, but they're not asking a question. Well, if you don't ask a question, nobody's going to think to even answer. Right.
Yeah.
So it's about asking questions that elicit a response so that they actually want to engage in your content.
And that's the thing. They want to.
That's it.
Your perfect clients are already looking for you. Even if they don't know you, they're looking for you because they have a specific pain, or they have a specific problem that they would like to solve so that they can live a specific passion. And there's a specific pain they feel when that problem prevents them from living their passion. So if you in your content speak to their passion, their problem, and their pain by asking open-ended questions, and this is where so many people struggle with sales. They don't ask open-ended questions, meaning it opens up a conversation. Don't say, hey, do you struggle with this? Say, what is your struggle with this? And then that opens up a conversation, and then you can give value from there.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And so what are your thoughts on, the transformation of LinkedIn? I know that's actually where we originally connected. I don't remember if you sent me a request, I sent you one, or we messaged back and forth, but that's where we connected. So tell me your thoughts on what you've kind of seen on that platform and its growth and its algorithm changes and everything.
LinkedIn is blowing up right now. There's so much talk about it. Something is blowing up when you start to see Facebook ads about it. And I'm seeing more and more Facebook ads, more and more groups on LinkedIn over the last couple of years, this past maybe 12 to 18 months especially. And I was not active on LinkedIn, honestly, until about 4 or 5 months ago. And I was really active about 90 days ago because I've been watching the platform, but I did jump on because I was really focused on Facebook and Instagram. And one of the things that held me back was I really need to just observe, consume content, figure out how does the relationship building work here? What's the language, the contextual language of this platform and the type of content? And I wanted to find a tool that I could use that would help me reach people at scale. If you can do something at scale, it's always better. So you and I connected because there's a software that I use that I can find the right people, and I tell it, go reach out to these people. But when I do it, and here's the key, you can use automation. Facebook ads is automation, Instagram ads is automation, boosting your posts is automation. LinkedIn is a different platform where most of the automation, it violates their terms of service, so they shut it down. But there are some that really do work well. And a buddy of mine he launched a software company, and I'm using his software, and it's phenomenal because it's completely compliant. But more importantly, it's based on giving value and building a relationship. So, you can tell me, you've probably been on LinkedIn longer than me. What would you say on average is the acceptance rate when you or when someone else is reaching out to people? You're inviting people to connect.
It's probably like 85%, something like that.
Okay. So you're killing it. So you don't qualify because you're at a whole nother level. For most people, it's going to be really low. It might be 10, 20%, 10 out of 20 of every 100 people. These are people that I don't even know that I'm reaching out to. And because I lead with value, I get 43% of people accepting my connection request. And then I can add more value. And this is not, I met them at an event and I sent a connection request. This is, they have no idea who the hell I am. They've never heard of me, and they're accepting it. but I lead with value. And it's the same thing I did on Facebook and Instagram. And I just waited until I knew I had the right tools to use and right positioning so that I could add the most value. Because if I'm not adding value, what am I doing? And again, because of that, in 30 days, I booked myself on 12 different podcasts because that was one of my goals. I've booked sales calls. It just expanded my network with some great people. I've gotten guests on my podcast, people I wasn't connected to, people who I never thought would connect, like just because of my positioning. Major influencers accepting my connection request and, opening up an opportunity. I got David Meltzer on my show because of that, reaching out and having the right positioning. So LinkedIn is a platform that's evolving, but it's one of the best to be on right now. Next to that, I would say TikTok, which a lot of people would disagree with because you don't understand how it works. You haven't been paying attention to what the evolution of social media looks like.
That's it. Yeah. And so I have kind of a similar LinkedIn story to most people. I've had the account for years. And originally when most people got it, it was basically an online resume. It was like where you go when you change a job or going on there to congratulate someone else on their work anniversary and things like that. It was super boring. And so I logged in April of last year and I was like, all right, hang on a second. What happened to LinkedIn? LinkedIn has changed. There's video. It was just like people posting content at scale. And so I did exactly what you said. I just started observing. I started consuming. I started to see like what some of the people that had the bigger followers were doing. And then I started noticing some things that they weren't doing, that if I actually activated myself and did the things they were, and also things that they weren't, I was like, you know what? I think that I can be onto something here, because I wasn't creating content. Like, I've been doing sales and marketing 25 years, started doing door-to-door sales. And I said, you know what? Like, why can't this be me? I have expertise in sales. I have expertise in emotional intelligence and these things. So I literally just started creating content at scale. And before you knew it, from April to December, I had amassed like 20,000 followers. And this morning I literally logged in and I was just crossed 30,000. I was like, what in the, like you said, it's hot right now. And if you do the things that we've talked about, you create content at scale, you engage with your audience, you add value, and don't try to sell people crap, right? Like, you do those things and you can experience exponential growth. And for those that are listening, if you don't have a LinkedIn account right now, like, go get one, because even if you've never posted, the organic reach on LinkedIn is so insane, right, AJ, that like, even if you have one follower, you could post a video and it could get thousands of views tomorrow.
Yeah, and if you're focused on giving value, and first of all, April of last year, it's not even been a year and you've blown up 30,000 followers. That's nuts. That's encouraging for me, because I'm like, okay, I got to step it up, because it's one of those platforms that if you could have gotten in early in the days of Facebook and Instagram, you would blow up. That's why I mentioned TikTok, because TikTok is where it is right now, is where Facebook and Instagram were in the early days. Where LinkedIn is right now is where Facebook and Instagram were in the early days. And that's why all these influencers have blown up, because they got there early. And, if you're first to market or just early to market, you don't have to be first, be early to market, and you plant your flag, you start deploying value consistently. Over time, you're going to blow up, and you're proof of that. It hasn't even been a year. You know how long it takes to get 30,000 followers on Instagram without going viral, or being that selfie kid with Justin Timberlake on the Super Bowl. It's difficult. You're not going to do that on Facebook. You're not going to do that on Instagram. But TikTok, LinkedIn, you can do that. And LinkedIn is great, because if you're B2B or you want to serve high-level clients, they're on that platform and they're active, and it's changed. You got to change up your content. You got to pay attention to what's happening and really start to give value and position yourself. And, like you said before, it used to be just a resume. That's a big mistake people make on LinkedIn. Their profile looks like a resume. Think of your profile as a sales page. What are you trying to sell them on? Not what are you trying to sell them, but what are you trying to sell them on? The idea of you being an expert, your positioning, the value you have to offer, not a product or service. Sell them on, I'm of value to you. If you scroll down, you'll get value. It's like, sell them on that.
That's exactly it. And so what are your thoughts on, the algorithm changes on Facebook and Instagram, because you mentioned that earlier, that the algorithms have definitely changed. So what would you say to people that, maybe they're new to it, right? They've never used it to try to add value to generate business. So where would you tell people to start?
Man, Facebook and Instagram, the algorithm has changed, and I don't get real deep into the algorithm changes because I just focus on building relationship. So regardless of how it changes, I'm going to build relationship and see where the attention is and where people are connecting. But the algorithm has changed. It was sometime last year, it switched to really focus on friends and family, to where the content you're seeing is based on people you actually know, not pages. I mean, the organic reach of pages on Facebook now is basically no. It's like dead. They want you to pay to play. It's a marketplace platform. They want you to pay to advertise. It makes sense for their business model. So what I started doing, and what a lot of entrepreneurs who are successful are doing, is using their personal page and deploying value. Now, Facebook has been cracking down on people using their personal page as a business page, meaning they're making calls to action, they're selling. So the smart thing to do is just deploy value, build relationships, because that's what, if you think of it in the context of friends and family, that's what it is. And then take it off the platform, take it into the DMs, have the call to action there, have have the conversation outside of that, so that you stay compliant, because you don't want to get your account to get shut down. But it's all about looking at where is the attention and where can you build real relationships. Facebook prioritizes friends and family, so use a personal page and get better at building relationships. If all you want to do is run ads and make sales, then use a business page and put money into running ads. But if you're not in that place where you have the capital, you got to get good at building relationships authentically, messaging people, and knowing how to slide in the DMs in a way that says, hey, I'm here to give you value, not, hey, I'm here to get something from you. That's just sleazy and it's gross. And I get that all the time. And I put these jokers in their place, and I tend to give them a lot of advice and help them. So I turn them into followers and sometimes clients. But that's what's happening. And it's the same on Instagram.
That's awesome. Hey, so you grew up in Guam. So
yeah.
Funny little one-off here. I don't know if you're familiar with Palau.
Oh yeah, man.
My stepdad's from Koror, Palau, and he told me about this lake that has jellyfish in it.
Yep.
That don't actually called Jellyfish Lake, I guess. They don't sting you or anything, but
the famous diving spot.
Yeah, famous diving spot. So it's a place that I've always wanted to go and visit. I mean, just seeing the pictures and stuff like that of it, it just looks so beautiful. Palau and Guam both look
yeah, man, it's a whole different thing. You go to Guam, you go to Palau, hour and a half flight, hop over to Yap. People still live off the land. I mean, you'll go there and you'll think you went back to like the 2 centuries ago, because they built everything. It's still very third world. Women are topless with grass skirts. The guys are wearing like the loincloths. I mean, it's crazy. They're still 200 years back, but then I have a TV. But the water, you can be 40 feet on the water, and it's crystal clear straight down. It's like you're floating on glass. You can see all the fish, the reef. It's nuts. It's something to see.
That's awesome. So how often do you get a chance to go back?
Man, I haven't been back since, let's say I grew up there. I was there from 92, originally from San Diego, but I grew up there from 92 until like 2001. I went back and I did an internship in Australia, and then I hopped back over there for 3 years. 2007 was the last time I was there. So it's been 13 years.
Okay. So it sounds like a trip. You need to plan a trip soon, right?
Yeah.
Trip back
it's we budgeted it out, and it's about 22 to 24 hours of travel time. You got to go I'm in Phoenix, you go from Phoenix to LA to Hawaii, straight to Guam. And that's like a 9-hour flight. And it's 20, 30 grand to take the whole family. So we'll make that trip eventually, but I want to make it a good one. I want to take the kids, show them where I grew up, be able to go out and get out in the ocean. My wife, she's a Midwestern white girl from Minnesota. So she's never been to an island. So it'll be a culture shock for her. So I want to make sure she gets the full experience.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat as you, because my dad's from the Philippines, and my wife is from Georgia, born and raised in Georgia, and
oh yeah,
our kids have never been out there to see that part of the culture and the ancestry, and it's in certain parts it sounds very similar to Guam in the sense that there's still natives, and you're pumping your own water, and there,
Yeah.
it literally, like the last time I was there, I remember it was in '03. And it was like the 90s, like people are still wearing the Bugs Bunny, like remember those Bugs Bunny t-shirts? It was like the gangster Bugs Bunny and stuff. They're still wearing those things,
wow.
And
Dang,
I was like, man,
throwing it back.
Yeah, right. I was like, man, that's from back in the day. So it's definitely interesting when you go to places that are third world countries, because it really puts things into perspective for you, right? Because all these things that we take advantage of here in the States, and we just don't realize how hard it is in some places for people to live.
Yeah, man. And having that experience is one of the things that honestly has helped me get through just the struggles of entrepreneurship. Because I've sat at the table with, multimillionaires running, hundreds of millions of dollars in their company who've done billions of dollars in sales. I've also sat in the dirt and eaten Spam from a can and a taro root that just came out of the dirt with a bunch of islanders who, they live off the land. So those experiences have helped me kind of keep perspective and stay grounded, chase, the big dream. I want to have the private jet. I want to be a billionaire, but I want to do to make world impact, because there's a lot of people who are struggling. And if I'm in a position where I have the resources, I can do more. Because right now I can give my time. Yeah. A lot of people say, well, I don't need to get rich. I can just give my time. Yeah, but you only have so much time. If I can spend my time creating resources that empower 1 million people to give their time, I've made a much more massive impact. I'd rather do that and to give my time as well.
That's exactly it. And the one thing that I will never forget going to the Philippines is, like, they don't really have a whole lot, but everybody's super happy, man. Like, everybody is just loving life, and like that resonated with me so much. And we have so much in this country, and people are miserable, and so that's really kind of stuck with me. It's like, happiness is a choice. Like, we have a choice in how we show up and whether we're going to have a good or a bad attitude, and when you get to see people that are living in poverty, but they still have a big smile on their face, man, that does so much for your mindset and your thought process.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I mean, it helps you really keep things in perspective. 1 second. Oh, okay. Yeah, it definitely helps keep things in perspective. And man, it's I have one thing. When I went to the Philippines a couple times, and an interesting story. I actually got stranded there for 26 hours in the airport because I ran out of money. I was on a trip for a training, and somehow I missed my flight. I was a day late on everything. I got to the hotel a day late. I didn't know because they upgraded me to a presidential suite. Like, the people in the Philippines, man, they're generous. Like, they upgraded me to a presidential suite. I'm like, man, I'm living the life. Then I get to the airport the next day and realize, oh, that's why they didn't have my reservation, because I was a day late. And then I ended up getting stuck in the airport. Thankfully, my uncle, my dad's brother, whose wife is Filipino, had relatives, and a few phone calls later, they found me, and I spent the night in the police station, and then somehow got home. But that's my story of the Philippines.
Yeah, and that's it's definitely an interesting place. I mean, especially if you leave Metro Manila, it just gets rural really, really fast.
Yeah,
You go from tons of cars and tons of traffic to chickens and goats kind of crossing the street, and people playing chicken with their vehicles, like driving head on to each other.
That's like Guam, man. It's the same thing. You got one end of the island that's kind of upscale, I guess, and then you have people who are still living in the they have the tin roofs. I mean, I know they have that in the Philippines. You got the tin roof, you got the plywood walls, you're pumping water, but somehow a lot of those people still have like a nice car. It's crazy.
Yeah, right. Or nice sneakers. Some of them have nice sneakers, but I think one interesting with me, do you play sports at all?
I've always been a martial artist. Like, I play basketball, but martial arts was my go-to. So if I'm not punching somebody in the face, then I'm not having as much fun.
So basketball is huge in the Philippines. They have the PBA, the Philippine Basketball Association.
Yeah.
And I remember going and playing, and I remember going on the basketball court, and half of the court they were drying rice. And if you've been around rice, it gets super itchy, right? Like, so we're playing with just shorts and no shirts on. And I'm like, why is my body so itchy? And then I look around and I'm like, why is everybody wearing flip-flops? Like, are you really going to play in these? And they're like, yeah, we're going to, like, they were playing in flip-flops. Like,
That's
like,
Iowa style, man. That's hardcore.
That's it.
Like,
yeah, that's it.
Flip-flops, barefoot, no shirt. I mean, whatever you got to do. You don't need basketball shoes to play. I mean, you got guys running down the court, playing full-court basketball, running full speed. And I'm the only one that has shoes on. And these dudes they're booking it.
That's it. Yeah, man. So, again, it teaches you a lot of perspective and how we kind of take all those liberties and things that really for granted sometimes. So let me ask you this. What has been the biggest lesson that you've learned, whether it's, at your lowest point or where you are now with the success that you've been experiencing?
Man, it all comes down to, there's a couple of lessons I've learned. I'll share one first that is my mantra, which is build something worth being known for, leave something worth being remembered for. That's your legacy. Like, go ahead and get known, but make sure that when you're dead and gone, you left something worth being remembered for. Whether it's the people you impacted, if it's an empire, do all of that. But a real big one is that a lot of people maybe be surprised by is be ethical, but be ruthless. So there's a principle in martial arts at different ranks, and I earned my black belt rank several years ago, and I'm going into a new style now to start all over again. It's a white belt, which is interesting. But at different ranks, we would say these different creeds, and the creed was just a reminder of our mindset. And at the advanced rank, black belt rank, what we would say is, if he is weak, I will spare him. If I am weak, I'll spare myself. And it was the idea of being ethical, knowing when to fight. Because I've been taught how to take a life, how to kill someone, different techniques. And we did a very hardcore street style. So it wasn't about looking pretty. It was about, can you take this person out and debilitate them? But you have to know when to do that. So whether it's protecting my family or in business, I'm kind, I'm gentle, I'm patient, I'm generous, and I'm compassionate and empathetic. But if it comes time where I have to fight, I will fight in a way that will terrify that person. And I will fight to the degree that I have to. And I've done this with business partners who wanted to be unethical with me and try to take advantage. And I had to go hardcore. Sometimes it's just sending an email saying, look, if you're going to do this, then here's the repercussions. It's being ruthless in demanding what you're worth or demanding what's right, standing your ground, and being willing to lose everything because you're standing on your principles. Be ethical in everything you do. I will be generous with you, but if you come at me, you attack my team, you attack my family, the gloves come off and I will hold nothing back.
That's it. And that's awesome. And so where is the best place? I know you're all over social, right? You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on LinkedIn. It sounds like you probably have at least created your TikTok account. You might be creating content at scale there. So where's the best place for the listeners that are out there if they want to get in touch with AJ Adams?
You want to get in touch with AJ Adams. My handle is the same on every platform, including TikTok. It's I'm AJ Adams. So imagine we're meeting for the first time. You say, hey, I'm Jordan. And I say, hey, I'm AJ Adams. Letter I, letter M, AJ Adams on every platform.
That is awesome. Well, man, this has been such a great chat. I really, really appreciate the time. I know your schedule has got to be crazy with all the things that you're doing. So I really appreciate it. And I definitely can't wait to connect with you further and kind of see what you're up to and follow your journey.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Likewise. I'm glad we're connected. We're connected on LinkedIn and Facebook, so we'll be staying in touch.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man. Wow, what an amazing journey AJ has had. But you can tell the guy is a hard worker and he never gives up. And that's what's really led to all his success today. Make sure you go and follow him on all his social links. And if you're not subscribed to the podcast yet, please subscribe and tell all your friends about it. This is the way that we'll be able to impact more people across the globe. Thank you so much for listening. And this was actually the last episode of season 1. But the good news is season 2 will actually kick off next week. So I can't wait for you to tune in for season 2, and thank you for listening to the Blaze Your Own Trail podcast.